مساء الخير. Hello, Dr. Mehmet. How are you?
Good to see you.
Hi. Dr. Fatou. We're very happy to meet you. You're wanted in Egypt. You know that?
Pleasure to have you here and all the colleagues coming from Egyptian institutions. It's a good opportunity to share the experience and to have an idea about the pediatric care of neurological diseases. And this is what we have to do also in our geographical region, to share the experience to improve the quality and the level of the treatment in the young population of both countries. And from our side, we are always ready to share this experience.
What is the maximum age you treat? Like,
Yeah, it's till the 18. In our department, we have two separate institutions. One is pediatric neurosurgery department from birth to the 18th year of age, and then we have the adult department, so they are treating patients older than 18 years of age.
last time we came here, you were on a vacation, and we had some information that you're helping, or you're treating the cerebral CB, not a complete recovery, but in some cases you make them live better. To what extent, and what kind of cases you can treat?
So, the issue with cerebral palsy, let me first describe what we are talking about. They are patients who have a damage in their brain tissue. It could be somewhere in the brain, and this may occur during the pregnancy, during the delivery, or the first month of the life. So this damage happens and it's not going to recover. Due to this damage, the patient has different types of movement problems, and spasticity is one of them. It means that the patient has limitations on his or her movement abilities. And unfortunately, in our geographical area, the percentage of this problem is really very high. According to the Turkish data, it's 4.5% to every 1,000 births, so it's a big number. What we can do? We have different surgical options, but first of all, I have to underline that this is a teamwork. There should be doctors from different disciplines. They have to come together and to work as a team. It should be a pediatric neurologist, a physiotherapy department member, there should be an orthopedic surgeon, a pediatric neurosurgeon as the core group. Of course, there are a lot of other disciplines to help for further development of this child, but as surgical evaluation team, these members should be there. So we are doing surgeries just to relax this spasticity issue, depending on the etiology, why it has happened, depending on the age of the patient, depending on the clinical status. Some of them are even able to move a little bit, some of them are even not able to sit down. So depending on this clinical condition, you can pick up different methods. Again, the main idea is always start from the simple treatment modalities, and you can get stepwise to more invasive issues. Now, again, the important issue at the beginning is to find out what can be achieved from this particular individual person. If a patient is able to sit with a good body control, the aim should be to have a good surgery and walking ability after surgery. But if a patient is even not able to sit, then for him or her, the main aim of the treatment should be being able to sit. Okay, so to improve the level of the patient 1 to maybe 3 steps, but it's not possible to make an improvement of 10 steps. Because of that, we have also to share this experience with the families. Of course, everybody wants to have
A better life for the kid.
Yeah, this is for sure. So this is what we are trying.
A lot of Egyptian kids during delivery, the oxygen was not enough to reach the brain, and this causes the brain atrophy. And after that they say that it's a cerebral CB. These cases are included in what you're saying?
Sure. And unfortunately also in Turkey, this group of patients consists, the biggest group of all cerebral palsy patients, the problem during delivery. Yes, this includes also this group of patients.
It's only movement but not talking.
Oh, they may have also talking problems. Some of them have also intellectual problems. They could be mentally affected. Some of them even may have swallowing difficulties. So depending on the damage.
You help in this too?
For intelligence, I can't do anything. And if you find out a solution, please tell me, so that I can improve my intelligence a couple more.
Talking.
For talking, we have speech therapists in our groups. This is a much different work. Again, it is worth to work on these patients, but of course for speech therapy, you should have therapists with your own native language. And the number of the speech therapists is also not that high in our country because there is only one single school for the education of the speech therapists. It's not that easy.
And concerning the deep brain tumors, if it's affecting sensitive parts in the brain, like very close to sensitive parts in the brain, is it easy to do it, or can you do it?
Let's say it's not easy, but we can do. So there are two important facts to be capable to operate on the deep-seated tumors. One, of course, the technical facilities. Right now, we can have an idea about the location of important structures before and during the surgery. So we know exactly where, let's say, speech center, as you mentioned, where the motor cortex is, where the nuclei of important nerves, for example, to move our face, to move our tongue. They have certain centers. And during the surgery, we have information where they are. So if you don't touch them, you don't harm them. This is one thing. The second thing is, of course, surgical experience. Everything depends on experience. If you start with the support of this technology, you improve also your surgical technique. And we were lucky in our department to have a lot of patients with these type of diagnoses, and we improved a lot our technique. So thalamic tumors, hypothalamus tumors, brainstem tumors can be operated in this department. Brainstem is practically the hardcore of the computer of our brain. So it's not that easy to reach there because it's deep. If you operate on the surface, it's easy. If you go deeper, it's more difficult, but it is possible to operate on them.
When we declared in Egypt that there is a doctor of cerebral CB, we had thousands of patients calling us and they want to come here. Depending on what you will choose the right patient for treatment, if all of them has a percent of brain atrophy or having movement problems, on what basis you will say this, we can help this, no, we cannot help this?
We discussed that also with our Egyptian colleagues yesterday. We have created an algorithm, actually, performing these procedures for close 20 years now. The most important issue is, as I said, the pre-operative evaluation of the patient. We have to see the patient, this is for sure. Just looking to the MRI of the patient, you can't say anything. We have to observe, we have to see the patient's abilities, okay? And then we need the information from the MRI, how percent is the brain tissue has affected, and then we create a future picture of this patient and we discuss that with the family. We have to explain the family what we can achieve. If they are satisfied with that, we go further with the treatment.
What kind of improvement you can achieve?
Yeah, so we have certain scales, international scales. One of them is Ashford scale, for example. If you say Ashford 4, everybody who is working with these children understands how the children looks like. If you have a 4, you can make maybe 2 steps better. Okay, so we can talk with our medical colleagues with that. But what we are doing with other centers, for example, the best thing is to evaluate the patients together and to pick up the good candidates for surgery.
So you have to be with the other doctors?
This is essential. So
You have to come to Egypt?
maybe one day.
Now? So you have to come with me now?
Oh, I wish. So none of them know also one of my great hobbies. I didn't tell them, but
Riding horses or what?
I am a professional dive master.
We're the right country.
Yeah. So and I was it's one of missing points in my life. I dived all over the world except Egypt.
It's the best place.
Yeah, I know. One of the best places. It's a big shame, but you know what? Once I planned, we were in the airport with the whole equipment and with all our group. The flight to Egypt was cancelled, and I spent the whole night in the airport. Next morning, they cancelled again, and this was the sad end of our Egyptian journey. So I didn't mention them this diving spot yet, but now
I promise you, God, I'm talking seriously. We can bring you the patients in Hurghada or Sharm el-Sheikh while you're diving. And you finish your diving.
one of the good examinations would be in the water. Yeah. Anyway, so I would be
So seriously, we have to make an invitation because, you know, I'm talking seriously, thousands and thousands of patients.
I'm talking seriously. We can do our consultations together because this team of doctors, they have also an idea about that. I can come also with our, for example, physiotherapists together, and this is what also we are doing in our country. We go, let's say, to the next city, to Istanbul. They prepare us 40 patients. We examine them. We don't charge them anything, and we say all the families, this is what we can do with your daughter or son. If they are satisfied, okay. If they are expecting more than we can create, of course, then there is no need to start with the treatment. But my idea is, after 20 years, you can improve every CP child. The question, to what extent? Sometimes even 5% improvement is something very important.
Yes, I really agree.
Sometimes 50% doesn't satisfy the family. But my belief right now, depending upon our experiences, you can do something on every patient. Just plan carefully, find out the level of the disease, and good facilities, good surgeries, you can do to every patient something.
There is a problem I was thinking about. If we had, we helped the Egyptian kids to come here and make this surgery, what about the physiotherapy? They have to stay for month and month here in Turkey too.
Good question. Now, again, depending on our experience, the most important issue is the post-operative rehab program, into which you have to include the family. Nowhere on the world can care for a certain child with high tolerance and acceptance as the mother, and sometimes the father, not that often. Okay, so now we have a program here to teach the rehab program also to the family. And if we start a collaboration like that, the second point should be having some Egyptian physiotherapists, which are chosen by these group of colleagues. They can spend maybe 2-3 weeks here with our physiotherapy team to have an idea about the post-operative care of these patients. You know, the point is, let's say we operate a spastic child, 7 years old. What we are doing is we are relaxing the whole stimulation system from the brain, but the child doesn't know that. he lived for 7 years with this spastic condition. We have to teach them the new condition. They have to learn to use their new legs and arms. This is the importance of this post-operative rehab program. So another step would be having young physiotherapists here, maybe, to give an example. We are organizing also courses for the education of physiotherapists, but one issue is just joining a course for 2 days without touching a patient, without having this feeling of muscles.
No, it won't do.
Would be not that helpful. It's much better to be on the field. You know, if you, it's again, it is different to make to judge about the soccer game. It's something different to go to be on the field and to hit the ball. It's different. It's the same. We can plan that.
So what is the plan now? Really, seriously.
The plan is going to be created right now here together. So the best thing is when I tell you what I can offer. So we can offer all educational possibilities we have, okay? Courses or spending a certain time here. Second issue, if it comes to the patient issue, one point we can come to Egypt for 1-2 days, examining the patients together to discuss, to pick up those who are really going to benefit a lot. Because it is not easy to go to another country to spend 1 week.
And Egyptian families, they don't get satisfied easily. This is
I can imagine. Yeah, because I'm also a guy who doesn't get satisfied very easily. So we have to explain them.
You have always high expectations.
Yes, I'm explaining everything in a very honest condition. This is the level that we can help. It's very clear.
We have to use the kids, and we have to use wise families too, or
those who
grasp the concept.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue.
So we're waiting in Egypt.
Yeah, hopefully.
The diving soon.
Yeah, this should be in my luggage, maybe for 1 day, just to have an idea.
Thank you very much, and I'm honored to meet you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure also from our side. Thanks a lot. I hope for a good cooperation with
Inshallah.
institutions, inshallah.